Good evening, Queens, and welcome to Selah, the home edition. I'm Vashti McKenzie. I'm your host, and I'm just absolutely excited that we are back together again. Whew, it seems like time is flying. We are up to a whole lot. Now, this is where you press the pause button, go get yourself a snack, invite your friends, and post this on your Facebook page. If you're on YouTube, then go tell somebody to come and join you because this is our time. This is Selah. This is our safe space. This is where we talk to each other. We talk about things we ought to talk about, but we don't have time to talk about. This is Selah. Queens, this is your location. And so I'm glad to see you in the room. Now, this is your check-in time. This is where you tell me where you're from, what city you're in, what your church, what your sorority, what your fraternity is, what your eat, meet, and greeting club, what your neighborhood is, whatever. Come on, this is your shout out time. I want to see where you are. Hi, Della. Hi, Vanetta. Hi, Lynette. Good to see you. Melba, wonderful. St. Paul, Greenspoint. That must be Monica. Hey, Reverend Caragama. That sounds like Emmanuel in San Antonio, Texas. Hello, Erica Fuller. Good to see you. Janet Goldbreath. Come on, Cheryl Bell. Houston is in the house. Good to see you. Barbara, wonderful. This is our check-in time. Come on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Queens, this is our moment. This is our time. We have a fabulous, fabulous guest, Dr. Valerie Montgomery Rice, who's the president and dean of Morehouse School of Medicine. And she's kicking off our Women's History Month. This is our time to celebrate women. Come on, sisters. This is our time to celebrate our sheroes and those who have a her story. Yeah, not history, but a her story. And we will do that all month long. We've got a lot of surprises to tell you about that's happening this month. But first, I just want to thank the great state of Texas. But wait, before I do that, you're supposed to get your cell phone, remember? Come on, Michelle, Shiloh, I see you. Tiffany, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. Tashana, hello, everybody. Get your cell phone out. This is our cell phone time. You want to put it up. Let me turn it around. Put it up. Take your selfie. Post your selfie and say, I am on Selah. Where are you? I'm watching Selah. Where are you? Come on. This is our time. This is our moment. This is it. This is it. Come on, Selah. Let's invite everybody in the house. Hi, Walleen. Hi, Linda. Okay. Hello, Queens. Right back at you. Come on. Hi, Queens. Hello, Queens. Right back at you. Right back at you. Come on. Let everybody know. Don't forget, share the page. Share the page. Share the page. Share the page. All right. I want to thank the great state of Texas. I'm telling you, we have been hard hit. We had two winter storms back to back, inches of snow. I'm not talking about a dusting, but we had real snow, 4, 5, and 6 inches that laid on the ground for 3-4 days. We're not used to that. Not only were we not used to that, but we're not used to frigid temperatures. It got down to zero. Where I live in Texas, it got down to zero, and the wind chill factor was below zero. So I tell you, it was a rough time. Not only that, the power grid just about failed. We were in the dark about 4 days and all of that, but Texas stands strong. Our theme here is start strong, stay strong, and stand strong. And I can tell you, Texas has been standing strong. I want you to see how Texas has been at work. I want you to see how Texas has been at work. I want you to see. Hey, Baltimore, I see you. LaTanya, I see you. Yeah, that on the, you can see on one side where the water was just coming down in the kitchen. That is at Grant and in Austin, Texas. Here we find water pallets being delivered to Killeen, Texas, Dallas, Texas in one corner, Corpus Christi in another, San Antonio in another. We have been working feeding people and passing out bottled water because 14 million people in the state of Texas lived in compromise in areas where the water system was compromised. This shows we were in Houston, Texas on Saturday. If you go back to the other slide, Reverend Jazz, I don't know if that's possible backing up. Nope, not possible backing up. But we were in Houston, Texas, and putting bags of foods into trucks and bottled water. I want to thank everybody that sent water, everybody that's been praying for us, everyone that has helped in many different ways. Thank you from the top of our hearts, not the bottom of our hearts, from the top of our hearts, because you're helping us to help other people. And thank you, Texas. Thank you, Texas. Amen. All right. This is, as we said, we are kicking off our Women's History Month. And we do have a herstory maker with us. Her name is Dr. Valerie Montgomery Rice. And before we do that, I want to let you know that our Women's History Month is called Phenomenal. Phenomenal. And that comes from, a poem by Maya Angelou. I'm not quite sure we can play that today. Or I just may tell you, just go look it up for yourself and do that. Hello, Virginia. Good to see you. I'm talking about the state of Virginia, Houston, Texas. Wesley is in the house. Hey, Wesley. ACD is in the house. Glad to see you. That's right. We're still standing strong. Woodstock, Georgia. Hello there. Good to see you. Florida, Apollo Beach, Florida. Good to see you. Harlem, New York. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for being with us. And so what we want to do at Selah Leadership is to expand our encouragement of women who lead. And so in our women's celebration. And so we're going to invite different women to come and share with us who have exciting stories to share. And one of them is Dr. Valerie Montgomery Rice. Come on, Selah ladies, won't you welcome her to the table of transformation? Welcome her into the room. Hello, Dr. Valerie.
Hello, how are you?
Welcome to Selah.
Nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
And thank you for saying yes. I know Monday nights are tough for everybody every night, especially when there's a doctor.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Valerie Montgomery Rice. She has a combination of experiences at the highest level of patient care, medical research, and organizational management, public health policy. And she puts it all together with her transformational leadership acumen and strategic thinking that has been able to tackle challenging management issues. She has a knack for turning organizations around. Our paths first crossed when we were in Tennessee when she was doing wonderful, doing great things at Meharry. And now she is in charge, large and in charge, the sixth president of the Morehouse School of Medicine and the first female to lead that effort. So congratulations to you. You got quite a story to tell about how you got from majoring in chemistry at Georgia Institute of Technology all the way to be at the top of Morehouse School of Medicine. Welcome to Selah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It is a joy to be here with you all, ladies. And I just thought that I would do what I do best. And one of those things is do a little education. And then we're going to make some time for questions. So I am excited to be here. And I am going to try to use a little technology. Now, you know, this will mess you up, but I'm going to do my best to try to share my screen. If I can get that done, I can maybe do this right. Let's see what's happening here. I'm going to try to share my screen. And let's see if anything's going to share. Okay, and I don't see it. Ooh. Okay, I got to do application window. Okay, I got it. Work with me, ladies. This is a new one. Okay, so I am assuming that you all can see my screen. Is that correct? Somebody give me a shout out. Say yes or so. Yes. Hello. I think you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
All right, great. So I'm going to just start, and I got a couple of things I want to share with you. So first of all, thank you for having me. I'm going to start with one of my favorite quotes, and it is the mind that makes the body. Sojourner Truth. It is the mind that makes the body. And because we are ending up yesterday on Women's Heart Month, I thought we would talk a little bit about cardiovascular disease because you all do know that it continues to be the number one killer. Now, we got some things that are outpacing us right now with COVID. We're going to talk about that a little bit also. But I don't want us to lose sight that it kills 1 out of every 2.5 women. It is the number one killer of women, with stroke being number 3. And I'm reminding us of this because, ladies, I know you know this. I know that you know about unhealthy cholesterol levels. I know that you know that women aged 20 and older with cholesterol levels of greater than 200, 46% of those women are Black women. I know that you know your numbers and that you need your total cholesterol level to be less than 200. I know that you know that. I know that you know that smoking is the single most preventable cause of death in the United States. Yet, 21% of American women age 18 and older still smoke. That's 22.6 million women. I know you know about physical inactivity, and that when we look at who's the most inactive, it is Hispanic women and Black women, and I know we can change that. I know that you know that increases in heart disease and stroke risk can be mitigated by simply 30 minutes or more of activity. On most of all the days of the week, you can reduce your blood cholesterol, your diabetes, and your obesity, and help lower your blood pressure. I know that you know that obesity and overweight is more prominent with us as Black women, brown women, and we can do something about this. And that translates to us having a higher diagnosis of diabetes along with that hypertension. Now, some people say, well, why is diabetes bad? Because when you look at people who have diabetes, 66 to 75% of people with diabetes also have some form of cardiovascular disease. Diabetes works to lower the good cholesterol and raises the bad cholesterol. And people who have diabetes also have high blood pressure and are overweight. So the message I tell you around heart disease, you all, is to know your numbers, learn your risk factors, and live a healthy life. Because it doesn't have to be that just because your mother or your grandmother, your aunt, or someone else had heart disease, that you have to die from that. We know what the heart attack warnings are, and we know that they're different in women than they are in men. A lot of times we would just have pain in our arms, our neck, our jaw, our stomach, or shortness of breath, or just a little chest discomfort, or we may have cold sweats. And the same thing with stroke, you all. We have numbness or weakness, confusion, trouble speaking, understanding, trouble seeing in one or both eyes. You cannot ignore those signs because they can be that of a stroke. Now, what are some of the things that we also can mitigate that will help us to reduce our risk of cardiovascular disease and diabetes? One of those things is stress, you all. Do you know what stress looks like? Stress is those adverse childhood experiences that continue to creep in our mind. Our socioeconomic circumstances, which COVID has really brought out the worst. Stress at work, social isolation. Again, COVID-19 has really impacted us. Marital problems. And then what we all do best, and that is care for sick people, care for everybody else, which we've had to do a lot of during COVID. All of these factors impact your stress level, you all. Here's another thing that impacts your stress level: trying to be superwoman. And all of us do this at some point, and some of us had to step up even more. This is a wonderful paper by these wonderful women that talk about race, stress, how we try to be strong, what our successes are, what our failures are, how our family and our health is all intertwined. And it's more so because we are Black women. And when you look at this superwoman's schema, you all, you understand that one of the factors that continues to plague us is this racial discrimination. And it forces us to create these stress coping models that lead to us having what we call a higher level of allostatic load, making our blood pressure go up, impacting our vasculature, and increasing our risk for heart disease and diabetes. So sometimes we can't control that as much, but you all, here are some of the things we can control. We can control whether or not we smoke. We can control whether or not we are overweight. We can mitigate factors that lead to our diabetes and our hypertension. These things, you all, we cannot control: our age, our class, our gender, and our race. These are at the root, but these factors we can control. And a large part of it is self-care behaviors, healthy coping. What do I mean by that? Who do you surround yourself with? Who makes you smile versus who adds stress to your life? How do you solve problems? Do you solve them in isolation? Or do you look for support in your faith, with your friends, with your fellow persons who care about you? Being active. Exercise definitely is a self-care behavior. And then monitoring your blood pressure and your hemoglobin A1C or your blood glucose level, because that allows you targets to shoot for, which help you to implement change. And then you get the affirmation because you're reducing your risk. Taking your medication on time, getting your prescription filled, and eating healthy. Now, some of those things, remembering the root of the tree, you cannot control, but we can modulate some of those things. And I just remind you that many of us are working on genomics, which is a discipline in genetics that looks at DNA sequencing and bioinformatics, and it looks at the function and the structure of the genomes so that we can understand what modulates them. You've heard about epigenetics, those external things, the external environment that impacts DNA, that turns genes on and off. Now, that doesn't change the sequence of the DNA, right? But it can turn a gene on, it could turn a gene off, which can impact cancer, autoimmune, mental disorders, and diabetes. And one of the things that I want to share with you, this is sort of a diagram of what a gene looks like that's been silenced. And sometimes you hear people say it's been methylated, but it's been silenced. And it would, as it is silenced, it may impact diabetes, hypertension, obesity. We know, you all, this epigenetic, these environmental influences start right here. When a woman is pregnant, and these are the reproductive cells that are in that fetus. The mother is the first generation, you all. The fetus is the second generation. The reproductive cells are the third generation. I am a reproductive endocrinologist and fertility specialist. And one of the things I know, that a woman is born with all the eggs she's going to ever have. So these eggs inside, these early pre-eggs inside of this baby would be influenced by this mother smoking, or this mother being overweight, or this mother having hypertension or diabetes. Would affect the fetus, which can eventually affect these reproductive cells. That's what we mean by epigenetics. Now, what we now know, though, is our genes are not our destiny. We know that environment is at play socially, politically, and economically. And many of these things we can control, like our weight. This is one of my slogans that people have heard me say for many, many years. It's not your weight, it's your waist. And you want to make sure that you keep this area as slim as possible, because that's where that subcutaneous fat lives that impacts your ability to ward off that diabetes and that hypertension. And how do you do that? Energy in equals energy out. Now, I always tell people, I've given this card out a number of times, looking at your height in inches here and your waist, and looking at where should I be? And you want to be somewhere with the waistline that's clearly 35, 40 inches. This 40 gets to be way too high. You want to be in this area here. Okay. And some people say, well, is that really obtainable? Yes, it is. With exercising 30 minutes a day, watching what you eat, and managing your stress. Yes, our bodies do change with age. And while you can't stop aging, you can reduce the effect of smoking, drug use, risky behavior, sun exposure, managing your diet, managing your exercise, managing your sleep, and managing your stress. Now, this little virus right here, you all, has added some stress to our life. And think about all the other things that Bishop was sharing with us about what's happening in Texas. Imagine the people who are being impacted by COVID. And you all, we know that brown people, Black and Hispanics, and American Indian and Asian have a significantly higher number of cases compared to whites, significantly higher hospitalization, and significantly higher death rate. And we know that it is an age factor also. So when you look across these ages, what you see here is that patients age 60 and above account for greater than 60% of the hospital and ICU, and they account for 90% of the deaths, while only representing 20% of the population. Patients with pre-existing conditions are 6 to 7 times more likely to be hospitalized and 10 times more likely to die than patients without pre-existing conditions. And what conditions am I talking about? I'm talking about diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, those diseases that the vasculature is impacted by your vasculature, because this is where that virus likes to attack the vasculature. And communities of color are overrepresented in cases of death by 1.5 to 2 times for Latinx and African American. And you see a greater disparity in outcome, okay, when you start to get older. Here are the whites at 85 who died. Here are the Blacks. Here are the whites who at 75, 84 who died. Here are the Blacks. Here are the whites who died at 65 to 74. Here are the Blacks. Here are the whites who died at 35 to 44. Here are the Blacks. Now, vaccines. They are extremely important in having something in our toolkit that, beyond wearing our mask, washing our hands, and maintaining our distance, will protect us from this virus. It will not necessarily protect you from getting infected. We know that now. We don't know how much it prevents spread into an infection to another person, but we do know that it reduces hospitalizations and deaths. And we have at Morehouse School of Medicine, along with the other 3 historically Black medical schools, been participating in clinical trials of COVID-19. I have been doing all type of op-eds, town halls, etc. And I got my vaccine live on air to assist with vaccine hesitancy, moving us to acceptance. We have also been doing community vaccinations, you all, to try to get people more comfortable with mitigating this virus. And what I want to say to you, and I think this is so important, I want to show you one thing if I can. Let's see if I can stop this right here. I'm going to stop sharing. I think I stopped sharing. Did I stop sharing? Yes or no? You just stop sharing? Yes. No.
Yes.
Okay, I want to show you one other thing. Okay, I want to show one other thing that I think is really important. If you would just bear with me, because this is important. I need people to see this to understand how important this work is. Let's see if I can make this work one more time. This is a briefing, you all, that we get just about every day, and I hope you can see this slide here. And I want to show you this. Okay. About December 8th, December 6th, something like this around this time, was when the vaccine started coming out. Okay, and we were starting to get people vaccinated. I want you to see the drop in cases that we are now seeing. Do you see that drop in cases? Okay. I also want you to see, and this is national data, the deaths dropping. Okay. Cases dropping, deaths dropping. But you can see that we still have many parts, particularly here in the South, where you have a significantly higher number of deaths compared to other places. Okay? We will begin to see this change, but it will take time. And this is because, you all, of the vaccine. So I don't want people, by any stretch of your imagination, to not believe that these vaccines are important. And there are many of us who are working right now to make sure that Black people are not left behind. Please get your vaccine when your time comes. And with that, I will stop and we can answer questions and have a conversation.
Hey, come on, put some hands up into that chat and say thank you, Dr. Valerie. Important information. I learned some things. Woo! I learned some things about that DNA and that process and all the things that have impact upon it. And I'm going to get number two, my shot number two. All right,
Great, wonderful.
those of you who have gotten your shots, you can say so. If you got a member in your family who's got a shot, just say so. That'll be encouraging to Dr. Valerie today.
Wonderful, wonderful,
And I'm
wonderful.
going for number two.
Anybody who's 65 and older and a frontline healthcare worker, you should have gotten your shot by now. If you are 65 and older, you should have your vaccine by now.
All right, y'all. If it's not you, go get mama and them and make sure that you go. All right.
Exactly.
And make sure that you go. Now, people are asking, well, we have all these new vaccines out. Should I wait for the next one or what should I do?
No, you should get the one that they are giving out that day. So let me help everyone to think about this. Clinical research takes a group of people and gives them a vaccine, and then a group of people and give them a placebo, right? And then they compared hospitalization rates, they compared death rates, they compared who got COVID after they got the vaccine. And what they found was that the people who got the vaccine, first of all, had a significantly lower opportunity of getting COVID. And if they got COVID, they had a significantly lower chance of being hospitalized or dying. So when we think about the benefit of a vaccine, we look first at, does it reduce your chance of dying? Yes. Does it reduce your chance of hospitalizations? Yes. And all three vaccines that are approved, Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson, are all in the 85 to 94% range for that, for hospitalizations and death. Now, it does show that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine doesn't seem to be as effective statistically for mild to moderate symptoms. Okay? Here's what I said. Symptoms. So What we know is, though, it will prevent you from being hospitalized. So you may feel yucky for a couple of days, but you're not going to die. Okay. And that's why you take whatever comes available first. Now, I am pretty sure that we're going to all be taking some boosters. Okay. I'm pretty sure of that. And Moderna and Pfizer right now are trying their best to figure out how they can make theirs a one shot, because all of us have pretty much figured out, based on the lifeline of life, the length of the antibodies hanging around, that we're probably going to need some boosters, and also to help mitigate some of these variants. So hopefully that answers that question.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, some people have side effects, or not side effects, but some reaction to that. Should we be concerned about it?
No. How many people have a sore arm after they take their flu vaccine? How many people have had a shingle shot? And how you feel after that shingle shot? How many people had a pneumovax?
All right.
And all of us know that we have symptoms now. There is some people who have an allergic reaction, but most of those people who have an allergic reaction are people who know they have allergic reactions. They are people who walk around with an epinephrine pen. So they smell some peanuts, they got to use their epinephrine pen. So clearly, if they put anything else foreign in their body, but that's why we do it under controlled circumstances for those people with a known allergy. And that is why we watch people for 15 and 30 minutes, depending on the history that they've given us.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now for, a lot of our queens, our Selah queens who are in the room today, they wrestle with stress. Now, what are we going to do about what do you call community stress? I may not have COVID. I may not be in that age range. I may not have preconditioned notion, but I'm under stress because everybody around me is stressed. Am I going to get it? Am I not going to get it? Am I going to get the vaccine? I'm not going to get the vaccine. If I get it, is it going to be serious? In fact, we had one of our members who waited. I mean, the symptoms, the cough, waited and waited and waited. And it took a whole bunch of people to convince her to go to the hospital. And she got there just in time. So, well, why did you wait so long? She said she was embarrassed. She was
About
embarrassed.
COVID?
Yeah, that she got COVID.
Well, let me tell you something about COVID, you all.
All this kind of stuff.
COVID doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care who you are. Okay. So this is not like a sexually transmitted disease. Mm-hmm. You did not do anything wrong, particularly to get COVID. Now, if you're one of these people who are not wearing your mask, then maybe you should be ashamed about that. But if you're one of these people who are following the guidelines, you all, to the best that you can, and all of us are human, right? Many of us are having to go and work in our jobs, and you can't necessarily control other people's behavior. So I say, give yourself a pass. If you are symptomatic and think you may have COVID, you need to be seen and tested, because they need to get you on the radar. Mm-hmm. Particularly if you have hypertension or diabetes or heart disease, you know that you can have a worse outcome, and we need to be monitoring you closely. This is not the time for pride. This is not the time to worry about what your neighbors think, etc. Your neighbor probably gave it to you. So do not, right? Don't worry about that. Protect yourself. Please go in and be seen. This is not something to be ashamed of. Unless you have not been wearing your mask, or you've been going to the club, or you've been going to major social gatherings and all of those things and not following the guidelines.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the state of Texas, all of our AME churches are closed. There are people from multi-denominations and different faiths who are on the line today. And what advice would you share with us about, is it time to open? Do we stay closed?
So I am, full disclosure, I am a member of Ebenezer Baptist Church, and I am on the board of trustees, and I am on the transition team. Well, when we go back, and we just had a meeting last week, and I gave them the data, it is not time for us to go back.
Now, every preacher on
It,
this line now just fell out. So say that one more
okay, I'm just telling you. So let me be very clear.
time. Hmm.
I have recommended to our congregation and to our leadership that we should not go back until the rates in our city are less than 5%, that our rates have gone down to less than 5%. And we are seeing a significant reduction, as we have been, in hospitalizations and deaths. I am very clear about that. You all know in all of our churches, elderly population, you all have seen when people have gathered, whether it was for a funeral or for whatever, we cannot keep our hands off of each other. We do not know how to wear our masks properly. We do not need to be singing, because when you sing, all type of things come out. And you just need to be real about this, guys. This is for the safety of the community. I have given myself permission to enjoy my virtual church. I'm even more attentive, I think, because I can listen to it over and over again. I can go back and go forward, so it's actually been very enjoyable. Now, I do miss the fellowship. I do miss the fellowship. I didn't know how much I was going to miss the fellowship, but I also want to see these people again for real.
Wow. Now, what about large gatherings? Because all of us belong to clubs and whatever, and conventions and this, that, and the other. When should conventions start?
They
Big
shouldn't.
conferences.
They shouldn't. They shouldn't. They should not. Again, I do not think we need to open back up with those large activities until we see the rates go down to less than 5%. And the reason I say that, you are, because if your case rates are going down by 5%, automatically you're going to see your hospitalizations and your death rates go down. You're going to see your hospitals have capacity. As a healthcare professional, you know what worries me mostly every day? It's the fatigue of my providers, of my faculty who are at Grady, who are at Children's Hospital, who are at the VA, who work 12 to 14-hour days every day, because they are having to take care of these very, very, very sick patients. And remember, just because people got COVID didn't mean that we stop having diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and all of these other things. We're still having those. And so it is very important, you all, that we not go back to having these conventions. The biggest challenge for us right now is how we're going to do graduation. Last year, we did a virtual. The students want a hybrid. I understand that, but if the case rates are not gone down, then we're going to be virtual. I am hoping that we're going to be at a situation where our case rates will be down enough and we will be able to do the graduation outside, socially distanced, and we will require that. And I told them, rain, sleep, we're going to be out there outside. We're not going to take it inside. So don't worry about your hair that day. Okay. We're going to be right outside if we decide to go with this.
Wonderful, wonderful. There are many people who are trying to make up their minds on what to do and not to do. I know I belong to a couple of groups. They're trying to figure out, should we or should we not? Should we not? But I like what you said. I want to see them again. I want
And you want to see them again.
I want to see them. I want to see you again. Selah is an in-person conference, and we usually have 2 a year, one in Dallas and one in Atlanta. We postponed ours last year and came to a virtual format. Hey, sisters, come on, Queen. And we're going to be right here for 2021. We're not going to come back.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to be.
Until it's all safe, until it's really, really safe. Because I don't want to put anybody's life in jeopardy. And I don't want anyone to feel that they're forced to come or have to come, when we can perfectly chat together and love on each other, get some information, and laugh at the same time.
And support each other. And I, believe me, I have my moments of isolation also. Now, we have been, because we are a medical school, we have been back since May. But we totally re-engineered our campus. We have a hybrid situation. We are doing, if you're in a shared office space, you're every other day. If you're in a single office, you come in, but we alternate Fridays for us to do extra cleaning. But the other thing that we've been doing, you all, we've been testing everybody every 7 to 10 days. We test everybody on our campuses. We test every 7 to 10 days. Everybody gets tested. Everybody does temperature and symptom check every day. And if you get behind on that, then your card does not allow you on campus.
Woo!
Woo,
Uh-oh.
woo,
Uh-oh.
we don't play. If you turn positive, then you go home for your 14 days of isolation. We do contact tracing. We do all of that, you all, because we can't educate and train medical students on Zoom and PA students. And you can't do research on Zoom. So we had no choice. And I had half of my workforce that was already in the hospitals working. But now we have a vaccine, you all. And so we are pushing to get as much vaccine and to get as many Black and brown people vaccinated as possible.
Absolutely.
That is how we beat this virus.
That is how. So those of you who have family members and friends who are dragging their feet, I read a story that there are persons in the armed forces that don't want to take this vaccine. I said, woo, y'all the first one. We need y'all to be up and ready to go. We're going to take a break right now. And we're going to get ready for some of our announcements. And one of the things when we come back and we're talking to Dr. Valerie, she is in a very high leadership position. And I'm sure the pathway up has had some twists and turns. And I hope that you would just give us some nuggets, some wisdom, some advice for the women who are at the table of transformation tonight about climbing that ladder of success, about setting priorities. How do we support each other? And what happens when you find a colleague who may be female, who is not supportive of your rise? And so we're going to go to Reverend Jazz, and Reverend Jazz is going to share some announcements with us.
Hey, everybody. Good evening. And just thank you once again for joining us for Selah at Home. As you know, this is the announcement moment. And so I just have a few things to share with you and one new thing tonight. And so before I begin any of the announcements tonight, just come on and continue to put your hearts and your hand emojis in the comment section for Dr. Rice tonight. And then also don't forget, you can sew with us through Selah Leadership's Cash App. And so the Cash App handle is provided here at the top of my head. It's $ Selah Leadership. And as you know, Selah, the Home Edition, is brought to you by those of you who watch. And so we are excited to continue to bring the resources and the persons that Bishop invites. And so I would love for you to go ahead and partner with us tonight and sow a seed if you have received some new information that you may not have heard or have received something that really has verified or resonated with your spirit. So sow on tonight. I just wanted to bring, of course, some reminders to you. If you do not already belong to our Selah VIP group on Facebook, please, please, please go ahead and join the Facebook group. Now more than ever, we need that community where you can get more information, some feedback, some follow-up to any conversation that we may be having here at Selah, the Home Edition. And so the way that you can engage further beyond these conversations on live is to join the Facebook group. So go ahead and do that and submit your request. If you are already a part of the group, we want our group to grow. And so we want to invite you now to invite a friend to the group. Go ahead and click that invite button and select all your girlfriends that are Facebook friends with you so that we can grow our group and continue to grow together. Wanted to remind you that you can shop with us at the Selah, the Home Edition store. The link is there. And of course, as usual, we'll put that link in the comment section following. But there are a few items in there we want you to grab. However, there is some new items in the boutique, and I want to show you this. So Bishop kind of started off the evening talking about our theme being phenomenal and how she is going to have us do a project that's really going to talk about sharing our story. And so I want to share our latest tea, which speaks to that, and that's Strong Her her story. You can grab this t-shirt through a separate link. I'm going to post that into the chat as soon as I'm done talking with the announcements tonight. But I wanted to share that design with you so that you can go ahead and get ready so that we can get our new tees on and be united, even from home, and share the pictures with our new t-shirts. I believe that is all that I have for you tonight. And let me just make sure that there's nothing. Okay, perfect. Make sure you go ahead and sew tonight, and we're going to throw it back to the conversation. Uh-oh.
Thank you, Reverend Jazz, for our announcements tonight. And our Her Story tees are available in the link. Excuse me. When Reverend Jazz puts it up, that was designed by a Selah alum, Ayanna Johnson, Reverend Ayanna Johnson out of Killeen, Texas. She designed it just for us. It's purple, white, and black. And we want to have one because we're going to have our Selah Fun Night. Fun. Repeat after me. Fun. Fun. We can have fun. It is time for us to have another fun Zoom. We're going to have games and we have recipes and we're going to be laughing and we're going to have music and a whole bunch of surprises. We want to wear our Her Story tees. And so mark your calendar for Monday, March the 25th at 7:00 Central. We're going to have fun night. It's going to be a Zoom. It's going to be a Zoom. No, it's not going to be on Facebook. No, it is not going to be on YouTube. It is a Zoom, and you'll get the opportunity to register. It's free. We just want you to come on. We're going to have some fun. Aren't you ready to have some fun? I'm ready to have some fun. I'm ready to have an hour or two of laughter. Aren't you ready to laugh? I sure am. And so put it on your calendar, Monday, March 25th. That's our Selah Fun Night Zoom. We want to have our teas, and we'll tell you all the goody information. Then we want to amplify our sheroes, and you can do that by going to Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and upload a photo of a woman in your life, your community, your congregation, who's an unsung hero, who has meant something to you, has given you a second chance, a first chance, gave you your job, who's just loved on you and mentored you, who has achieved or has survived against the odds. We want you to post her picture and then put the hashtag there, Selah Her Story. That means Selah, E-R, that's Selah Her Story. Amen. Selah Her Story. Put that hashtag, and we want to flood social media with all of the unsung heroes that are in our lives. Is that a good deal? And then you can upload the photo and a one-line on why you are celebrating her at the Selah Gmail, Selah VMM, S-E-L-A-H. Jazz, you're going to have to put that in the chat. Selah VMM at gmail.com. Upload your photo directly. And when we come back together again, we're going to highlight some of the women that you wanted to honor. Come on, let's bring Dr. Valerie back into the conversation. Hey, Dr. Valerie.
Hello.
And so what are the lessons learned in leadership? You are in a non-traditional role at an all-male university where they do not expect to find the female as the president of the School of Medicine and the dean as well. What are the lessons learned?
The lesson learned are always have you some people that you can reach out for support. And so Bishop knows this. When we first met, now we're in Nashville, but we had not really ever connected. We had heard of each other, and we met at an Odyssey conference. Mm-hmm. And it happened to be, you all, when I had been terminated from one of my roles at the institution that I was at. And I ran into Bishop at that conference. And she lifted me up. I was young. I was the youngest dean in the country at that time. And I was so disillusioned that this person did not see that everything that I was bringing to the table. And Bishop prayed with me, you all. And I have lived and continue to live by Isaiah 41:10. Don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand. She told me that I would be the victor through all of this. I had a lot of praying sisters around me. My executive assistant, a lot of other people who helped lift me up. And I took 2 years. I continued to be as a tenured professor, and I continued to run my women's center. But I took 2 years, you all, to get to know my husband again, to acknowledge my children and be there for them, but also to provide some self-care to myself, which I had not done, being so busy and so beholden to everybody else. And after that, you all, after we got through the acute phase, I got me an executive coach, and I started doing some self-care in my mind and really figuring out what Valerie wanted to do, not what everybody else wanted me to do, but what I wanted to do.
Wow.
And more opportunities came up because that's what God does, right?
That's right.
He's right on time, God,
Right on time.
And as my executive assistant used to say to me, she would say, Dr. Rice, everything has a season. And this is your season to rest. And I gave myself permission to do that.
I love permission slips. I just love it. I love it. You gave yourself permission to enjoy church in the virtual world. You gave yourself permission to rest. I love it because you had to be healed before the next assignment.
Before the next assignment. And I really did need to heal. And I had some ownership to all the things that had happened. And I accepted that ownership and I learned from it. And look what God has done.
Woo!
God put me in a position. I have more opportunities than I can even imagine.
Wow. Wow. You know, they always say, you see my glory, you don't know my story.
That's right.
You know, to see you, everybody thinks that it's always been blue skies and sunshines. You've never had a rainy day. And to tell you the truth now, Dr. Valerie, every time I've seen you, you've always had a smile. Come on, Selah ladies, don't you have a bubbly personality? She has a
You know
bubbly
what?
personality.
I love to laugh. I love to laugh. You know, I love to laugh. I love to laugh. I love to have fun. And I love interacting with women. I loved our time at Odyssey. I would look forward to that because it would always be the weekend after graduation. And I would get to come down there and just be me. And nobody was that impressed. They might have been impressed, but we didn't wear our titles on our sleeves or anything. We could go there and just be ourselves. And that's what it sounds like Selah allows here too, is that you can just come here and bring yourself.
Right.
And that matters. We all need opportunities for people to see just us, not the title, not the position, just us.
Just us, just us.
Just us.
And we can be who we be. You understand?
Yeah.
We can be who you be. People say like, "Oh, that's Bishop." Yeah, girl, that's me. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
She's a little off. She's laughing. You know, we joke, we have a good time, but that's the deal. That's who you are. That's absolutely who you are.
Right.
Can I stretch a little moment? Can I stretch a little moment? I want to stretch the part where you had to heal before the next assignment.
That's right.
Heal before the next assignment. Can we stretch that to say the relationship didn't work out?
That's right.
Maybe you need to heal before the next relationship. Whoa.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
How can we stretch it a little further? If it's like I had to heal before the next assignment, heal before the next relationship, then heal between problems. Heal between problems. One of the
And Bishop, you know what? And take ownership. Take ownership for what you contributed to how you contributed to the demise.
It's not always their fault now.
It's not. and you all, that's the great thing about sisterhood for me, is because a sister can always help you to understand what you did to be a part of it. If they're the right sister, right? They can just go ahead and tell you, now, girl, let me tell you this. You know, and you need that. We need that in the sisterhood. No judgment, just telling you the truth.
That's right. And you know what's coming when they say girl now.
Mm.
It's the GURL, girl now. But
Now,
your true friends will care about you. Your true
yes.
friends will come see about you. And your
Mhm.
true friends will tell you the truth. I preach it all the time. They'll tell you that's not your color, that's not your
That right.
style, that's
Right,
not your
exactly.
jacket. Don't wear them tight pants no more. That skirt
Hmm.
is too short. That's your true friend. You going
Right, right.
where you say you going? You going
Hmm.
dressed like that? You are not gonna get the job
You're not
dressed
gonna get
like
the job today.
not dressed like that. That's a true friend. That's a true friend. True friend will
Hmm.
tell you, girl, I don't mean no harm now. You may
Hmm.
love him, but that ain't the one.
That ain't the one. Right, that ain't the one.
Or there's some brothers who are watching tonight. So, that brother, brother, you may love her, but she ain't the one.
Mhm.
Keep working it. But I love the pause and what we've heard over and over again from so many women at Selah and so many women at other places is that the problems are coming so fast.
Yeah,
There is no space in between. There
yeah,
is no space to heal from one problem before the next one happens.
yes, yes. And that's what we've seen with COVID, you all. It has been overwhelming. And that's why I say we don't want to rush back into things. We want to give ourselves time to slowly reacclimate back into the new norm because you all, there will be a new norm. I don't know that I'm ever going to fly on a plane, you all, without a mask on.
Oh,
I just don't know. I,
mm,
I just don't know that I am. You sit too close to people on the plane for like 2 and 3 hours. I just don't know that I am. And I've gotten comfortable with that new norm.
mm,
And
mhm.
there are going to be many new norms that we come up with. And each of us, first of all, we need to listen to the science. And we as scientists, when we don't know, need to say we don't know, but work with us. Participate in some clinical research, you all, because that helps us to answer the questions. And a part about research, you all, it helps you to identify the unanticipated side effects. And
Mm,
if you don't have diversity in the clinical trial, then you don't know about the unanticipated side effects. That's why clinical research is so important. So participate in the trials, participate in the opportunity to help us bring the promise of science to everyone.
mm, mm. Dr. Valerie Montgomery Rice has been our guest to kick off Women's History Month. She is a phenomenal woman. Phenomenal woman is she, and she was phenomenal tonight. Not only did she share her expertise in her discipline, but she also shared from her heart, sister to sister tonight. Sailor ladies, did you feel that? Did you feel that? Did you feel that? Put some hands up there. Get some hearts going. Put some hands up there. Get some hearts going. I hope you will say you'll come back and visit Selah again, Dr. Valerie. I hope you'll say yes and come
I
back.
will, I will, I will, I will. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Now, Selah ladies, for those of you who know people who need to hear this conversation again, this will be on replay at the Selah Leadership Encounter Facebook event page. It'll be on replay. You can come back and see it again. You can invite someone who needs to hear this conversation to come back and listen to it one more time. Don't forget, please join the Selah VIP group on Facebook. We're almost to 1,000, and I want to get to 1,000 before springtime. Can we do that? The Selah Online VIP group in Facebook. Come on, we're going to chat. We're going to re-talk about some of the things that Dr. Valerie shared with us today. I want to find out how much time do you think is really necessary between assignments, between relationships, what is your recovery time? I want you to talk to me in the group. What is your recovery time? And what things do you do to speed up your recovery? Amen. So we're going to be talking about all kinds of things during Women's History Month. So please join us in the chat. Love you to life. Love you forever. You guys are the best girlfriend meetup in the whole wide world. And so thank you, Selah. Come on, let's hear your comments. Thank Dr. Rice. Thank her, thank her, thank her, thank her. Thank her for her conversation. Thank her for going way down and sharing with us honestly. Hey, Reverend Jazz.
Hey, so can we clarify the fun night? So I think earlier you said a date. I want to make sure the ladies have the correct date.
Okay.
And so is that going to be on the last Monday of the month?
Last Monday of the month.
All right, let's just make sure that everybody is aware. So the last Monday of the month is March 29th. Put that on your calendar, and we're going to have a good time. I promise you. So be there.
All right. We had a good time the last time, boy. Y'all you didn't want to go home. We had to kick y'all out. So come back on the last Monday of the month. That'll be for our fun Zoom. Get your teas, please, so that we can all have our teas on, and we're going to shout and laugh, play music, and have a great time. Don't forget the Cash App. Please support so we can keep doing this and keep doing this and keep doing this. Love you, everybody. God bless.